All right, everyone. Welcome back. So we're talking Loki episode 1. So much to talk about, Matt. Man, I mean, I haven't been this excited. I swear to God, I haven't been this excited since Black Panther. I haven't been this excited.
Oh shit, for real,
bro.
Damn.
Let me tell you something. I mean, I know we got a Black Captain America, cool, whatever. But personally,
he said cool, whatever.
Personally, I am like, give me time, anything, and I am a sucker. Memento,
Ooh.
Interstellar, Inception,
True,
Arrival, Tenet, just any of that type of stuff. The Prestige, like that is my wheelhouse. I love that type of stuff. Neil deGrasse Tyson, NASA. I mean, there's so much NASA stuff around here. Carly was like, please do not buy another fucking NASA graphic design t-shirt.
Oh my god, true. The budget.
But as you can tell, I'm clearly pumped.
Psycho 6. No, that's hype. That's hype. No, for sure. I too am a huge fan of space. Time I haven't really dived into all that much, but usually because it gets kind of messy, but it seems like this seems pretty cool. And time in comics is fun. I don't necessarily like it in movies as much, but one of my favorite, like Flashpoint Paradox from DC, those who are avid fans, like know about that. Like stuff like that's cool. So yeah.
Yeah. Off the bat, I just gotta say to everyone on the stream and everyone watching on YouTube. So if you come to our shows every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, you would have found out months ago. Months. I told Matt. I told Talia. I'm on the stream. I go. Me and my buddy at work were talking about time and physics and how, if time were to be a linear line and if there were to be multiple verses, wouldn't have to oscillate back and forth and go off into these different branches.
Oh my god.
And Matt goes, oh, that's an interesting theory. And then I said, well, if the universe is infinite, right? Wouldn't that mean that there has to be multiple universes? There has to be another version of me that is on that side and this version of you on this side, and even though we may never actually interact, if infinite is truly what the universe is, that has to be that. And then Matt goes, bro, are you stoned? And I'm like, alright, great. Now let's flash forward in time.
Oh god.
To here we are today.
In time. Yeah, can I go back? Can the TVA fucking eliminate me from this timeline so I don't have to hear this
here
shit?
We are in 2021, June 10th, Thursday at 8:09 p.m. and I'm waiting for my apology.
Oh, well, you can keep waiting, bucko.
All right, I guess I'm gonna have to pull off the Tenet and go back in time and make you say it to me.
Oh my god, yeah. I've already apologized in the future. You'll have to wait to get.
Yeah, exactly.
But
what's happened has happened.
For sure. I mean, multiverse time paradoxes is something that's been discussed a lot in media.
But no, we're not going to give Tyrone credit. Not a black man in America.
We're not.
No,
we're not. I'm just gonna put my foot down. That's what's happening. I do give you credit for having the foresight because comic books are really like delved into the multiverse. Mm-hmm. It's been surprising that Marvel hasn't done that yet. And one thing I want to talk to you about is like in that graphic you just showed that fun little informational piece within the show, and one of my favorite elements about the aesthetic so far is that it kind of goes into it has those like fun 70s vibes and like very niche style humor, but the point where they said like it could balloon into a multiverse, which would become like a big problem for people. Mm-hmm. Is like that's a big thing in the comic book series with like the 616 universe and like all these other things, the Ultimate Universe. So I kind of think this is a little bold prediction for me. I don't think they succeed in converging the universe into a sacred timeline again. I think we get a multiverse, and this is when all these crazy stories come up. So I'm sure this is something you predicted months and months ago.
Yeah, no, so
I like to take the story as it comes. So
yeah, no, so that's actually a really good point. So before we even jump into anything, this is going to be a spoiler discussion about Loki, and we are going to let everyone know that. I don't think Matt really said anything too crazy yet, but
nothing that wasn't brought up in the video we just showed. Yeah,
correct. First off, before we even get into anything, let's just break this out. I know some of you Marvel nerds care about this. I don't. No, there's no Mephisto. I don't know who this is really. I don't care. He's this devil guy, I guess. I don't understand that. Why do these Marvel fans get so hyper focused on these like side characters, or like, oh, this happened in this comic? Like, it's fun. It's fun. And I get that.
Yeah.
But don't make it a Bible. It's gonna ruin the entire experience for you.
Yeah, I think it's fair with with the amount that they've pulled from other stuff. I think it's fun to look in those Easter eggs.
Definitely.
But yeah,
we'll get into those Easter eggs.
Exactly, but like you said, I think we need to accept at this point that they pick and choose what they pull from.
Mm-hmm.
They can pull a plot line from a story and not include the character. I think that that's something that was huge in WandaVision that a lot of people were ended up being disappointed about. So I think we just kind of have to roll with. Everyone wants to be smart and try and figure out what's going to happen before it happens.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of characters in the Marvel universe people want to see, but I think the best thing to do is just kind of take it as it comes.
Right.
As you get little things, everything's a possibility, but once it becomes there'll be no shortage of TikToks predicting the finale for Loki already. But yeah, don't let it rule, like Connor's saying in the chat, don't let it rule how you're gonna experience the show. You're just gonna set yourself up for disappointment.
Well, you really just set the audience up for disappointing because you didn't tell them what Connor just said. He said, life lesson, don't turn anything into a Bible or it'll ruin life for you.
Bro, I didn't turn his comment into a Bible for how I was going to say my comment. So, I'm practicing.
But
why is my box so small?
So that's actually what I was going to say. I have no clue why Matt's box just jumps like this. It's the weirdest thing that we can't fully figure out.
I think it's because I'm a time variant, that's why.
So every once in a while, I'll have to try to fix that and adjust it, but excuse it. Don't let it ruin the experience for you. But let's just jump right into it. So Matt, what was one of your favorite things from this episode that you remember visually, or just a moment that really stood out?
I think there's a lot of bits I liked, the dialogue especially, but
something from the rundown, I'm sure, right?
Possibly. But I think what I enjoyed the most had to be the aesthetic of. I mentioned before, in the lead up to this show being released, I like it when comic books or TV shows, they create a weird set of rules or an infrastructure around something, and the fact that there's a whole bureaucracy devoted to maintaining the proper flow of time, and they have office buildings and they have a court system is the funniest shit to me. And probably my favorite, oh my god, yeah. Okay, I have two favorite scenes. One is when the guy's literally writing, he wants Loki to sign off on everything he's ever said, ever. And that to me is just hilarious. And as he keeps talking, it keeps printing out more stuff. And then two, the fucking scene where you find out that Loki was the famous DB Cooper. And that it was all just a bet with Thor. It wasn't anything nefarious. And and we never knew how he escaped because he got fucking bifrosted back to Asgard. I'm that's the funniest. What is really silly? I can just imagine them sitting in the writer's room being holy, bro, what if we fucking took that famous unsolved story and just made Loki it? I'm that's perfect. So.
And one thing about that too, I want to mention is, I thought it was a nice, so what this show does really well is it takes us back to the decade-long adventure that we've been on, but it doesn't do it where it's nostalgic. It's almost you're watching it and it's here's a separate lens that you didn't see because we didn't let you.
Yeah.
And that reminded me how big of a dick Thor used to be. I think a lot of us completely forget how bad of a person Thor was. He was very selfish, didn't care for anyone but himself.
Incredibly.
So that bet was completely in line of who he was as a person at that time to kind of send him off to something so heinous,
Yeah, and for those who haven't I think most of the people would know this going into the show, but this is the Loki from the end of from that scene in where he escapes just after the New York invasion. And so, like you said, I think he's the best avenue to re-explore these old moments, because it's not just rehashing stuff that the audience already knows. Like, the character has to learn the stuff that's happened, and like that scene, there's this really crazy scene where Loki's sitting there just watching like the key points in his future, and it goes all the way up until his untimely end at the hand of Thanos, and that moment where he kind of like accepts who he is. And I think like that was really fun because like people have wanted, I think my biggest criticism with Loki is because of his two-sided nature. It never really feels like he actually grows, like he actually experienced growth. And like I think Ragnarok was like the first time that kind of happened.
Yeah.
But like right when I guess that's the tragedy of it, is like right when he kind of like wants to do better, he gets killed. So like this is kind of our chance to see that character, if he actually believes in this, and it's part of his nature where you're like, will he, won't he? But it would be kind of cool to see this character like pursue a more righteous part rather than being a footnote in the story of other people.
So one thing that really stood out to me that was very fascinating was how they make him come to this realization of like this idea that he's going to be this mega god is actually very trivial in the big scheme of things.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite scenes, thanks for asking, was
just figured you say it.
No, one of my favorite scenes was the Infinity Stone scene where they go inside of the TVA office, and Casey, who's played by Eugene Porter, he was in The Good Place, King Kong. He's also a comedian. I thought he was really funny. He was kind of like,
he was good.
He was kind of like,
oh my god,
yeah, he was kind of like us if we were to be in this office.
Bro, his line, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
His line where he's like, bro, get me out here, I'll gut you like a fish. He's like, what's a fish? That's
Yeah. I know, that was
like,
hilarious.
Cackled out loud.
I thought, I'm gonna get into that for a second in a minute too, but yeah, I thought he was just really, really funny. Like, he's one of those LOL Marvel, like, let me put a funny comedic break in there. I think Loki does that really well as well, like intentionally and unintentionally. Like, he's unintentionally funny a lot of times. Like, he means what he's saying, but you also laugh. But yeah, I'm really liking this guy Casey. But I thought it was super cool how when they go in to look at these Infinity Stones, they were meaningless. It's like, he goes, oh yeah, we get these all the time. They're just paperweights, And it's fascinating to me because I was like, maybe there have been other instances in different timelines where there have been people who have tried to take these Infinity Stones, but then
there
the
have been other variants that have been caught with them.
Right, and the TVA steps in and goes, no. The other interesting thing is, if you look, there's only one time stone. I think it's the yellow one, right? Or
no,
it's not
the
even
yellow
there.
one's the Mind Stone, the green one's the Time Stone, and there's a lot of them.
Right. So there's only what's the one that Thanos, or no, that Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow.
That's the Soul Stone.
Yes,
the Soul Stone is orange.
It's missing,
which is why I'm kind of confused, because like those big ones could be Soul Stones. They're kind of like yellowish orange. Because, like, I don't know, the Mind Stone tends to be very yellow.
Yeah.
But I see the point you're getting at. I think you could be right.
I think it might be the Mind Stone, but I thought that was interesting that they neglected to put that in there.
Yeah, because, like, the Mind Stone is something that, one has to sacrifice quite a bit to possess. And it would make sense for not that many of them to ever have been acquired.
And I thought that was a cool little neat moment, too, that it brought me back to the Ancient One when she's talking to Bruce or Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan! I'm here for the stones, brother.
No, please. Oh my god.
You're gonna. Oh wait, no, is that? I think that's Macho Man.
Dude, our references are all over the place. But
I am inevitable.
oh god. But I really like that moment too because it brought us back to when she was talking about how if you take these stones, you have to bring them back, or it creates this ripple in time. And she quite literally showed us what Miss Minute was trying to explain to us in that video. So it's interesting how Marvel does this, where they put these little tidbits. Another neat little thing that they did was the whole deleted scenes and alternative scenes. So you'll see when Loki originally gets captured, right? And I think it's Avengers Endgame, where Tony Stark goes back with Cap, and they're inside of his tower, and Loki's sitting there and he's changing into Captain America. He's like, yes, I will do whatever you say. And he's like mocking the officer. So if you look closely of the version that was in the Endgame versus the version that was in Loki, they're actually different. It's slightly different, but not like big. So what they must have done was taken a separate take that Chris Evans did. So let's say he was like, all right, everyone, let's get together. The version we get in Loki's like, all right, everyone, let's get together. And it's just a subtle thing, but I think this is something we're going to see a lot of, where if you go back and see a scene that used to be, it's going to be altered just a tad bit because the what did they call it? The timeline, the perfect timeline,
the sacred timeline.
Thank you, the sacred timeline. That's what we've been following all this time. Now we're no longer going down that path.
Yeah.
Another interesting little tidbit is when Loki is sitting in that room with Mobius. Morpheus from the
Morpheus. Holy shit! Take the red pill. Yeah. Which stone do you want?
Which stone do you want? But so he's sitting in there with Mobius, and they're looking at like footage of his life in the past, present, and the future. You see this deleted scene from the original Avengers between Steve Rogers and this waitress in the New York after everything happened.
Oh shit. True.
So if you're a big Avengers fan, you've probably seen this because everyone looked up deleted scenes or extended scenes after the movie came out. This is actually shown in Loki, which is interesting because it actually never happened. So,
damn.
Couple little Easter eggs.
That's awesome.
But just kind of, chatting back and forth about some of those fun moments. What did you take from the whole home video scene and just being inside of the TVA building? How did you feel?
What is it? I don't know what movie. I don't know the title of the movie. It kind of reminded me of, but there's this movie that came out a long time ago where it's like these people are basically behind the scenes orchestrating everything that one does at all times, and if you peer behind the curtain, there's like people setting up cameras and like it's as if like everything.
Oh, are you talking about that Jim Carrey movie?
No, that's the Truman Show.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's a different one. It's like The Man Behind the Curtain or something.
The Wiz.
I'll have to find it another time. No.
I know.
But it gave me kind of vibes like that, and the whole part about the multiverse is very interesting, in the sense where like Marvel Comics has delved into the multiverse before, so seeing that there was a war to converge all the multiverses into one sacred timeline. Mm-hmm. And that they're doing everything to prevent this big crazy thing from happening. And like, spoiler alert, whenever like a show tells you like there's something bad that's gonna happen that we don't want to happen, chances are it's gonna happen because why the fuck would they bring that up and then not let it happen? So I think this is kind of, like you said before, going to this next level of this next phase of Marvel. I think it's gonna be interesting to see like what other timelines come to be. Mm-hmm. And one thing I thought that was really friggin' cool is the scene, like logically, we're thinking, Loki's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, why am I in trouble? Because the Avengers went back in time in the first place and got all the stones back. And they're like, bro, I'm like, well, that was supposed to happen.
Right.
Like the timekeepers wanted that to happen, and I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Right,
Like literally,
right.
Thanos was so fucking powerful that the Lords of Time were like, okay, you get this one chance to go back in time. And I was like, what?
But here's the thing, is I interpret that differently. I interpreted that as Thanos was supposed to do that, and then because like during they've written it, or it's supposed to be this way where Thanos does this,
I agree.
and society is given hope, because what they say is, Loki, like, we understand you want to be this thing, but you're literally only designed in the universe to elevate other people. So to me, I was interpreting it as villains in general. It's like Thanos is supposed to happen so that the Avengers come together, Avengers 2.0 happen, and all those events.
Loki was supposed to come together to get the Avengers to team up and for heroes to become teammates.
Exactly.
That would lead them on this path. Yeah, no. I think it goes both ways. Still, but the fact that Thanos was still so powerful with the gauntlet that they had to go back in time, but the fact that it was kind of like written that was supposed to happen.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying. And I think this kind of goes into that conversation that, like, I think what I was trying to say before is about in previous things is like Loki's kind of having that same thing that I am, where it's like, what the fuck? Like, does free will even exist if you live in a multiverse where every decision is kind of like written for you? And like,
spoiler alert, free will ain't a thing, buddy. We're
that's
all just
bullshit.
Going across the timeline.
Fuck you. There's no proof of any other timelines. If I want to pick my nose on stream, I can do that. That wasn't pre-written, you fuck.
Because it hasn't been proven doesn't mean it is not is.
Oh, was it the absence of evidence does not mean the evidence of absence? Is it classic Boondocks line?
Dr. Umar, welcome to the chat.
No. Anyway, but that's some stuff that I was thinking about. What were some of your favorite parts, and what were some of your most thought-provoking elements, being such a big fan of space and time?
Well, it wasn't. They honestly weren't all that thought-provoking. There's some of them were just funny, like that Wall Street kid. Like, he's like, "Do you know who my dad is?"
Your favorite archetype of characters.
Yeah, the Wall Street guy. But I thought it was interesting too that, like, they brought in this element of like other characters who don't have that big of an importance to our storyline, but they're like, hey, this person missed work, so now they've screwed up this that was supposed to happen. Like those little like moments like that I found kind of interesting. I also thought we didn't talk about it at all yet, but the whole past variant where Mobius goes back in time, because there's some evidence that someone went back in time and left this bubblegum, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I think the person also, didn't they kill a bunch of people in the church?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck, dude.
And then they goes this whole part, do you know who did this? And this like demon thing. So this is where that whole theory comes into line, where people are like, Mephisto.
It's not Mephisto. It's not Mephisto.
Yeah, whatever. And it's just like, no. Like, the director literally is like, alright, I hate that I have to say this, but that's literally just supposed to represent Loki.
Yeah, I was like, dude, the horns. Who has a helmet?
Oh, looks like we lost Matt for a second. Kids, this is why you want to get great internet, so you don't end up like this cheap fuck, where it's buffering internet. Oh, sorry, he's back.
I'm not a cheap fucking piece of crap. I don't pay for this fucking internet. Trust me, I pay for something far better. But yeah, dude, who's?
Oh Jesus! Looks like we lost him again. Look, this is what we're gonna do. Since Matt is clearly having a little space and time issue here, here's what we'll do. We'll I'm gonna go back to a quick commercial break, and then we'll get right back into this. No worries. This is how you go viral, folks. It takes dedication.
It's hard work.
Hard work. Yeah, you know, many takes, many takes.
You can't win easy.
No, never. All right, here we go. Alrighty.
Let's do it. All right.
This is the one.
Gordon Ramsay entree with a side dish. 2007 in class with a sidekick. Subwoofers installed in white Benzes. Gang members involved with tight fitteds. If you don't snatch his chain now, you might miss it. He's Ryan Hollins into it with Mike.
All right, folks, we're back, and that is large.
Yeah, sorry, I had to like fucking calibrate to this timeline. Took me a couple seconds.
Yeah, for some reason, Max, as I mentioned before.
Yeah, I had to speak to the timekeepers. Apparently, it's pre-written for me to have fucking terrible internet. So,
dude, we literally can't even see you right now. That's how bad your camera is. You're jumping all over the place.
Jesus, I cannot be contained. But anyway,
I can't wait to edit this later, dude.
Did you have any final thoughts? I'll wait till I'm back
let's
on.
Let's get you recalibrated. This is for YouTube. Yep. You know, we gotta make sure it's nice and clean. All right. All right. Let's see how that looks. All right, that looks good. All right, folks, and we are back. Hopefully, you can hear us and it's smooth. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully we stay back.
All right, everyone, we're back. So we're gonna get into a couple little Easter eggs here. Some fun things that I noticed. And real quick, shout out to the new Rockstars on YouTube. That's a great, great channel. Go check out some of their shows and episodes. That's where we got a lot of these clips from. Fantastic. The Mobius drinking, or not the Mobius, but Mobius drinking the soda. The soda. Jeez, now I'm doing it for everything. But Mobius drinking soda, what was that about? That was kind of strange. I didn't understand. I was like, you're this, like, super extraterrestrial, like, superior being and you drink soda? Well, that was a little strange.
Yeah, no, I still don't really understand, like, who these TVA people are. Like, are they humans? Are they, like, extraterrestrial beings? Or, like, are they constructs? But, yeah, the soda thing I actually didn't even notice that element. Like, when I saw it in the rundown, I thought it was more, like, it was a bigger moment, but it seemed like more of like a casual thing, and I was like, "What?" Well,
yeah. So it's a very tiny thing. So it makes me wonder: are these TVA members? Because one of the things that Casey said in the TVA office, he was like, "I don't know. I just sit at this desk every day." So I'm like,
"That's true." Yeah.
Are they human beings who were once on Earth and then they got put here and they got put to work because they had value?
Yeah.
Or were they born here and this is what they were meant to do? Because I thought they kind of alluded to the fact that they were just born there and this is what they were meant to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think, yeah. It's kind of they've been given some righteous purpose or something.
Yeah. So. One thing Talia said in the chat is she's like, isn't it a 90s version of soda too? Yeah, so that's the other thing too, is I think it's a callback to a legitimate soda from the 90s. So I'm wondering, is it like, okay, does he just happen to be like, so how does time work? Is it like, all right, they're in the year 2021, they know that something happens in 2025, but it's like, okay, we can't monitor 2025 because it hasn't happened yet. So this soda is from the 90s and that's when he experienced it. So he's like, oh, I like this soda from the 90s. Like, can he get soda from the 2025? Can he go back?
This is the original Coca-Cola formula, and he just doesn't want to lose track of it because apparently that was the better one before the new Coke came out in the 80s.
And I know this is like, with the cocaine. Yeah, I know this is silly, but to talk about, but it kind of makes me, to your point, Matt. It's like, okay, are they super beings or are they just human? You know?
Yeah, that's something that's interesting because, like, I mean, we know that they can die, which is interesting. It's like, I mean, that's not synonymous to being a human, but yeah, I think we're gonna learn a little bit more about it because the scene where they look out on the spire and you see all the technology, which was a beautiful line where Loki's like, "I thought you said there was no magic here," and he's like, "There isn't," and it's all this like it's big sci-fi sequence, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
It kind of makes me wonder, like, okay, are they just like a super advanced society then?
I think so.
Like, is that where humanity is like going to end up or supposed to end up? Who knows?
Yeah, because they're in a pocket dimension. Like like the fact that the Infinity Stones have no power there, like they're outside of the major universe.
This is the universe.
So it could be like
they're the microphone.
True. And they could be like, it could be like a visual version of like the Tesseract from, funny that shares the same name, but the Tesseract from Interstellar. You know how like four-dimensional beings. So hey, a little crossover there, you know?
Right. Yeah, the Tesseract is like a whole science fiction phenomenon. But one of the funniest things, dude, is people lost their mind on Twitter. They're like, Loki's gender fluid? Why is that? Like,
oh Christ.
Yeah, like, wait a minute. You're shocked that a fictional character that can morph into anything is
I didn't even fucking consider that.
Doesn't have a gender?
Oh my god, yeah. I didn't even notice that on the sheet.
Oh yeah, I'll bring it back up.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so it says race. I cannot read that. I'm sure it's like Asgardian or something.
Oh, it is Frost Giant, because he's a Frost Giant.
Yeah. Height 6'2", eye color blue, sex fluid, birthplace, Jantuni alias Loki, god of war or whatever. But
god of mischief, yeah.
Mischief, yeah. But someone else had mentioned too that I guess those numbers or what his ID is, like that changes throughout. If you watch other Avenger movies, like that's been a thing that comes up a ton. So this version actually has a different ID. But anyways, it's interesting again that it's like they have these aliases and like, you know, one of the moments that came up was the whole. Oh, we'll get into that into a second. But one of the things that came up was like, "Oh, are you a robot or not?" And he's like, "Shit, I don't even know."
That was awesome. That was fucking awesome. Yeah, he's like, "Bro, wait. How would I know if I'm a robot?" Is it, well, this machine will melt you from the inside. I was like, but somebody, I remember I saw on Twitter when somebody like, in lieu of all the outrage, it was like, bro, Loki's been gender fluid like in the comics.
Oh yeah.
Like, and out of like all the fucking out of all the Marvel things, this is probably one of the most like true to comic things that they could do. Like,
yeah, so that's what we're about to
like
get.
You said perfectly. Like, dude, he fucking changes. You can't just change into other people and just not be gender fluid. Like, that's definition.
Literally the definition, dude.
Like Mystique from X-Men, definitely gender fluid.
Yeah, exactly.
She fucking transforms into everything. So
speak of which, we're gonna. I know we said let's not get into the theories, but one of the theories.
Oh, boy.
One of the theories we have here is, so at the end, there's this mysterious being who we find out it turns out to be is Loki, another variant, and we're like, oh my god, who could that be? And one of the things that some of the Marvel enthusiasts are hypothesizing is because Loki is gender fluid or has sex fluid, they believe it to be Loki, mistress of mischief, who in the comics plays a version of Loki that's actually successful at doing what he wants to do. Because as you know, that's one of the things that comes up is Loki is wildly unsuccessful at every attempt he has ever had to do anything ever. I mean, he's so unsuccessful that he tries to kill his brother and ends up killing his mother.
Oh my god, dude! I haven't seen Thor Dark World in the longest time because I have respect for myself.
No, but like, come on, it's fine.
No, but that fucking scene, like that I didn't even remember that. Like that scene recontextualized it from like, oh fuck, like he literally is the reason they found his mom and killed Frigga. I'm like, that's fucking sucks. I was gonna make a joke that like even times where fucking Loki tries to sacrifice himself, he fails at that because he still lives.
No. Let me see what else we got here. Oh, this is something that I thought of, and like this is like my own little theory or weird thing. So we see that there's these like TVA judges on the wall, and I was like, that person kind of looks like Stan Lee.
Oh fuck, I didn't even notice that.
So I was like, yeah, that like it's like one of those moments, like, you know, when you're watching something and you look down or you like blow your nose and you look back up. I look up exactly at the time that this thing is on the wall, and I was like, yo, is that Stan Lee? And then I also thought it was
Facts, bro.
who's the Sterling Knight or Sterling Brown? You know, the dude from like This Is Us, the black guy.
Oh my
It
god.
just so happens to look like him. Obviously, it's not. But I was just thinking, like,
he's not crying enough for it to be him.
No. Jesus. He's also in Black Panther, so it could make sense. But
He is, yeah.
But no, so I saw that Stan Lee thing, and I was like, is that like homage to Stan Lee, or is it actually his character? Because remember that scene in, what was it, Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Again, this is me being a complete conspiracy theorist nut job, so just have fun with this.
Of course.
So you watch this scene in Guardians of the Galaxy where they go through.
They go to a little portal and you see he's like an astronaut hanging out with a.
Right. So he's with the Watchers.
Hanging out with the Guardians.
Yeah, he's with the Watchers here, who are this cosmic beings who have the ability to like achieve basically any effect that they want, where they can augment time and space and molecules and energy and all this different stuff. And I was like, are those the timekeepers? But so yeah, so he's like kind of sitting there and he's chilling, and again, it's just a fun little theory. If something that came in my mind, my mind was like, wait, and like started going. But obviously, it's not gonna amount to anything bigger. But I just kind of thought, you know, this world, now that we're opening up the multiverse world, basically everything is possible and has happened, right?
Yeah, everything's interconnected.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like you said. No, this is like the groundwork. Like, dude, I remember back when they were afraid to do this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And like, instead of making Thor a god and like making them like magical, they literally had like a fucking throwaway line in the first movie where it's like, it's not magic, it's just such fancy science that it appears to be magic to you. And it's like, dude, just fucking lean into it. And then they did.
Yeah.
You know, now this is where we are. So like, nothing's impossible.
Yeah, we laid the groundwork.
Except for Mephisto being the bad guy in this fucking show, all right? You gotta fucking drop that now, all right? He's not gonna be in here. And if he is here, you can come back here the day he is.
Please do call us.
Shit on us.
Please do call us casuals in the comments below, because that's what we are, and we're actually proud of
We'll
it.
invite you on stream to call us casuals if Mephisto ends up being in the show.
I don't care if he does or not. Like, we are casuals. We're just two dudes who enjoy the Marvel world. We enjoy it over the past decade. We're having fun with it just like everyone else. Going on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube and the theories and having fun with it. Like we always say, it's just way too self-serious. Like, this is a fictional piece of art that is in the world. You should just enjoy it. It doesn't need to be this stressful thing and like all these different elements, you know? And ultimately, again, you know, that's why you gotta just be you. Whatever makes you happy, whatever is your pleasure, that's what you gotta do. One thing that we didn't mention was the Skrull alien. So
there was a Skrull in this episode?
Oh, you didn't notice? Dude, look at top left.
Shit, I did not.
So, yeah, so remember when Loki's getting checked in?
Shit. Oh, damn, yeah, I completely missed that.
I know you didn't watch Captain Marvel, but he shows up in there.
I did!
Well, you did? Oh, my bad.
I did, I told you.
Let me pull that back then, I apologize. But, so, the Skrull of those little, like, green-looking alien dudes, so they showed up with Spider-Man, WandaVision, Captain Marvel, and they keep showing up, and some are saying that I guess they're going to get their own little movie or something like that. Have you heard anything about this?
Oh, yeah, no, Secret Invasion.
Yes.
That's like one of the biggest comic lines in Marvel history, and that's something that they've been meaning to do for a while and figure out the groundwork for. I'm interested to see how it would work, because that was like a huge crossover event, and like, I'm just, you know, I don't know how the hell any crossover event's gonna look after, you know, Infinity War.
Right.
Like, that shit's crazy. So that could be exciting. But like, the Skrull don't seem like bad since the last time we seen.
It's hard to tell.
I'm, like,
it's hard to tell. Like, sometimes it kind of feels like it does feel like they're an ally, but sometimes it kind of feels like it's like, hey, I got to do what's best for me.
Yeah.
I'm
curious how that ties into the, you know, shape-shifting as superheroes.
Right.
That would be kind of cool.
I just want to make sure we kind of hit everything. But episode 2, man, like, what did you think? Like, are you excited for it? episode
of
2?
course I'm excited.
Do you think this is something that only certain Marvel fans can enjoy? Everyone? Because
I think everyone can enjoy. I think there's something about the humor, and I think the way that they've kind of laid out the groundwork is very straightforward. Loki has always been a fan favorite. You know, you got to remember he was one of the first major villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, like you said, like, you know, going back through the decades is like in lieu of that. You know, we're kind of bringing, you know, the OGs, well, not the OGs, but we're bringing back like a familiar character. We're gonna get to dive into them a little bit more and some cool, wacky, like Rick and Morty type adventures.
So I'm gonna disagree. So
Fuck.
believe it or not, we don't always agree, guys. So
I think it's gonna be more surprising when we do agree at this point.
LeBron James.
Fuck you.
No, but so I tried to get Carly to watch this with me, and it's weird because she actually really likes the Thor movies. She likes Loki.
Oh,
yeah, she likes Loki,
dang.
but she just like this was a bit too cosmic, like timeline, like not sure for her, which was like it was so disappointing. It was so disappointing. But what I will say is this: I think there probably is a little truth to that because like there's definitely something to say about. I can understand how like things that aren't non-linear stories can be a little off-putting for people, but what I will say is I think just try to stick with it. Trust Marvel. We've been able to trust Marvel for a decade, and they always deliver.
Yeah.
So just, you know, there's no reason now not to trust them. And what I would say is if you haven't seen any of the other Marvel pieces, obviously this is going to be nothing to you. So you can't watch this. You have to watch the other ones, or it doesn't make any sense.
You're late to the party at this point. I'm surprised you even like got here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's gonna take some time to catch up. But what I will say is it is definitely worth it. I have a couple of friends who have never seen any of the Marvel stuff, and they started watching it during quarantine. They started watching when they knew WandaVision was coming out. And just, you know, again, take it slow, one movie a week. There's no rush because there's so much more Marvel coming. And what I will say is if you're looking for a non-spoiler review, there are a ton of those on YouTube. So if you want to kind of stay in the loop but not actually get everything spoiled.
Indeed, yeah.
And I've kind of changed my tune on this over the years. Personally, I don't want anyone to spoil anything for me. I'll cut you. But
True.
if something is spoiled for you, you can actually still really enjoy it because it's not necessarily about the final plot or where you end up. It's how you get there. You really still will have a like greater appreciation for it. But that being said, please try not to spoil anything for me.
Yeah. You might find the movie still surprises you. Like, dude, I literally went into The Usual Suspects knowing that Kevin Spacey's character was Kaiser Soze. Spoiler alert, it's been out for fucking 30 years. You should have seen it already. If not, probably not now since of what happened to him. But I was literally the last final minutes. I still questioned whether or not he was Kaiser Soze because of how they conducted it.
Right, exactly.
And at the end, I knew that going in, and then was still fucking shocked and surprised at the end. And I was like, that's fucking insane. But you will never be spoiled as bad as I was reading a YouTube comment on an NBA 2K video 30 minutes before going into Endgame, and the comment said, R.I.P. Tony Stark. Just think about that every time. You will never be spoiled as bad as I was.
And here's the thing is with the Tony Stark R.I.P. thing is it did not take away from the moment. Still, it hurt, but you kind of went in still like, is someone just messing with me? Is this a joke? Or like, you know, because it was still fresh.
Also, the movie.
All I was gonna say was you never really know what's a spoiler and what's not until you get through it. And with Marvel is, Matt and I talked about this weeks ago. If Tony Stark died in Endgame, that doesn't mean he's dead from the series. And we talked about this like Wolverine origin version of him that could come in 5 years. Not saying we want that or good or bad, or that it takes away from the Tony Stark that we saw die. But the point is that you just never know what's gonna happen in these Marvel movies because their universe is so large and there's so many stories, and don't let those little things take away from the experience of enjoying these Marvel movies, this community, and just this is like a very major time happening in cinema. And you know, there's a lot of like old school traditional Martin Scorsese types, like, oh, this isn't movies. It's like, yeah, but just because you don't enjoy it the same way this generation does, you cannot deny that this is a global phenomenon that's happening all at the same time, where we're all tuning in on Wednesday. We're all want to discuss it. We all want to know what's going to happen next. And that's really beautiful, because when you look at all the differences that we have in the world and all the, like, you know, partisanship and just all this, like, you know, it's religion and politics and where you're from and male, female, all, you know, movies and TV pause that for 30 minutes, 45, an hour, and you just get to enjoy a story and escape. And then what's beautiful about the Marvel community is there's so many people out there who want to discuss with you. So
exactly, yeah. No, I mean, this is the first time we've never had a more interconnected movie cinematic universe, like, in anything. Like, that didn't exist before Marvel.
No.
And it's struggling to exist after Marvel.
Right.
How many franchises have tried to do this, like the Mummy franchise and shit, and they all fail after the first two movies? I think Godzilla versus Kong was like the first fucking one that, like, actually ended up being semi-successful. But, like, you know, rather than, I think we just enjoy it as it comes.
And the other thing too is, well, I mean, I guess you can make an argument Harry Potter, but in Star Wars,
yeah.
But it's a little different because
well, those are I would chime in saying, like, those are linear franchises where it's like it's
Right.
kind of follows
So that's what I was gonna say.
Star Wars is trying to branch out into that MCU stuff, but like you say, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, like, they had their stories and then they slowly.
So that's what I was gonna say. So, like, when you look at like a Star Wars or Harry Potter or whatever, first off, the literature's already there, and then second is, like you said, we know there's a start to finish. With this, we don't know. So, truth be told, this story could keep going on forever. With my kids and I are watching this stuff together. I don't have kids yet, but my kids' could be watching because.
Well, Luna can still watch it.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if we honestly saw like Superdog or something come out of eventually. You know, isn't there? There's like a Captain. It's like a Marvel dog or something like that.
I don't. Oh, there's like a atomic dog.
Yeah, something like that. But anyways, my point is that this franchise is so special because there's so much works, and you even see Miss Marvel is this young Middle Eastern woman, or I believe Indian. Don't quote me.
I believe she might be. Yeah, I'll look it up. You keep going.
Yeah, but that would have never happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. And what's neat about Marvel is they've always been a place where the disenfranchised and those without a voice can have an opportunity to be on a stage in front of an audience. And it isn't this fake, like, oh, let's just put someone on there to represent someone. These characters have existed for 20 to 30 plus years. And before we get out of here, I just wanted to ask you about that, what your thoughts were, because there was a report, she's Pakistani, Miss Marvel is Pakistani. So I wanted to get your thoughts on Miss Marvel before we head out. So there's been reports that the studio is kind of unhappy with her acting. We don't know what's true or not, but they're kind of disappointed with how it's turning out. And what I find interesting is when Tom Holland originally was going to be Spider-Man, we gave him a break. I mean, the first movie's funny, it's fun, but we gave him a chance, you know? And Miss Marvel, it doesn't even seem like, it's not even out yet, and it already seems like the critics are trying to write it off. What are your thoughts on that, and what do you think our expectations should be for Miss Marvel? Because this is also her first major role, but it was also Tom Holland's.
Yeah, I didn't know much about Miss Marvel production at all. I think it's discouraging to hear that so early in production, and it's probably discouraging for her. That's all I can think about. This is her first gig,
Yeah.
like, in any job, you fucking learn as you go,
Right.
and it's a big task to be like, the Miss Marvel character is young, so obviously they're going with a more younger
Right.
actress. And I think it is interesting how you look at like the gender dynamic within the acting world, about like a lot of men tend to get,
Pass.
they get the benefit of the doubt, they get a pass a lot of the time. And I think like even as like expansive as the Marvel fan base has been, I do think that there is, one does have to notice the especially like when, on the topic of Marvel, when Captain Marvel came out, there was a great deal of sexism
Right.
around that character. And people like, going out of their way to hate on that. So I think there's less charity towards like woman actors within the superhero space, because of it was such a male dominated
Space.
genre for a while. But I think they need to give her a chance, or at least like, they have the resources. It's fucking Disney, get some people in there to assist her, to help her,
Yeah,
lift her up instead of like calling her out so early in the production.
Well,
And at
so,
the end of the day,
real
like,
quick,
let's not act like a lot of the other acting we see in the other movies was fucking
That's
fantastic.
exactly what
It was a superhero movie. So as long as she doesn't look like she's from like she's like performing a scene from The Room, like,
yeah.
it should be fine.
Yeah, so Carly DeKay said, I haven't heard anything on her yet, but people are unfair. Have to be young and pretty when you're a woman, blah, 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 but men can be ugly and old AF. This is true. What's interesting is, so I was thinking about Scarlett Johansson, and she was a little bit of a video vixen at the time. She was a pretty face, but they didn't really give her the opportunity to step out of her shell, and here she is now. This young woman is, I don't think she's on the same level as Scarlett Johansson as far as beauty and all that standards, according to the media, not me. And so it'll be interesting to see if they've given her a chance. They did wrap production though, Matt.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, so
Damn.
I'll be curious if there's reshoots or what's there. But to me, I look at it the same way as like when people say, oh, this is a bad student. There's no such thing as a bad student. It's a bad teacher. Because, as you said, you're the director. You have to find what her strength is. You guys hired her for a reason, right? So what were those reasons?
Come on.
Find that, use those strengths, and bring it out in the character. And also, Tom Holland was great. He was funny. He wasn't, like, that amazing the first one. He got better with each movie, and we got his charisma and I mean, Thor.
Yeah, Thor wasn't good until fucking
recently, honestly.
Like, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
He wasn't good till Ragnarok.
Yeah, he was kind of a one-dimensional character.
He'd been playing the character for years too.
Yeah,
like 5 or 6 years. So like, sometimes it takes that long. I also think like Tom Holland is overrated as an actor. To be honest, I don't think he does anything that interesting.
Respectfully, I'm not gonna say that because I want to be friends with him one day. But
that's fair. You're taking on Reggie's thing about the networking.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
No, but I think he probably would agree with you that it's like, and it does have to do some of the writing, but it's like his character just kind of does this whole, hey, Mr. Stark, is there anything else that I need to do? Oh boy, what are we gonna do next? Oh no, Iron's dead. Tony, help me! It's just kind of the same thing over and over. He's like, oh, I'm this innocent young Peter Parker, but it's like, does Peter Parker's balls ever drop? I mean, it just becomes the same thing over and over, and I haven't seen any of his other movies. Oh, you froze there for a second, but I haven't seen any of his other movies where it's been like super impressive, and I kind of get those same facial expressions over and over, so I don't want to shit on Tom Holland here. I think he is definitely a good dude, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, he's young. He's young too. It's like you got to let these people grow. That'll do it. If you aren't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go touch youtube.com/The Circle Club. Doesn't work yet because we have to have enough subscribers. Sad face. Which is why we need you guys to go to youtube.com and search The Circle Club and subscribe to us. go to our website, www.thecircleclub.net, and sign up, and you'll get all the fun updates and website updates, and we're getting closer and closer. Matt, anything before we set off?
And to make it easier,
Yep.
a quick thing to make it easier for us, so you don't have to research us every time. If you subscribe and hit the bell icon, you'll get notifications when we upload to YouTube. That way, it'll get to you even quicker, along with hopefully the next couple if you sign up for the email listing on the website. So make sure you're up to date and in tune, because we got more content coming down the stream.
And if you go to the website,
yes, sir.
Again, www.thecircleclub.net, we have all of our socials linked there, YouTube, whatever. So if you ever want to just check any of our content, what we got going on, do so. Check out Next Level Gaming events. If you go to TikTok, type in Jumping on Another Jet. Again, that's Jumping on Another Jet. Our buddy Yao is going viral like crazy. And yeah, man, that's it. Thank you so much for showing up today. A lot of fun. Matt, we're trying to figure out this internet thing. And signing off. Bye. And remember, time is non-linear. Just be you.